Buried, forgotten, or simply overlooked. Some discoveries don't fit the textbook, and some were hidden for a reason. Get ready for the most unusual findings the world was never quite prepared for. The residents of Kollam, India got lucky. Instead of some sea creature, 29 massive shipping containers filled with various cargo washed ashore. A powerful storm had ripped them off the MSC Elsa III, scattering them into the ocean. Thanks to the efforts of local fishermen, the containers were hauled back to land and eventually returned to the shipping company. Take a deep breath. We're diving into the secrets of Xiangdao Lake in China. 30 meters below the surface lies the ancient lion city Xisheng. Founded in 621 AD, this underwater maze spans an area larger than 60 football fields. Temples, homes, and 265 grand archways still proudly display their stone lions and dragons, preserved with a beauty that seems untouched by time. And no, the city didn't sink naturally. In 1959, the entire valley was deliberately flooded to make way for a hydroelectric plant. Yet, even that couldn't disturb the majesty of this time capsule city. Bear witness to an American M3 Lee tank being pulled from the bottom of the Barents Sea. In 1943, a transport ship called Ballot sank during a navigation accident while carrying the tank. It lay 50 meters underwater for nearly 80 years before being discovered in 2022. This discovery is surprising for even existing in the first place. I don't know who was driving, but they were lucky that the Jeep's sturdy frame prevented a huge explosion. The rocket later turned out to be a decoy that was often launched as a deception. But still, the fact that this whole thing even happened is still incredible. World War II may be long over, but its remnants can still be found in the most unexpected places. Take this tank, for example. It is so deeply submerged in this swamp that it looks like part of the landscape. Chances are, the swamp is actually what sealed its fate all those years ago. Incredible, isn't it? You never know when a stroll in the woods will suddenly turn into a tour of the Cold War era. Among these trees lie the remains of old aircraft, including a B-36 and even a Boeing C-97. The latter of the two is truly impressive, with a 141-foot wingspan, 5,000-mile range, and the capacity to carry 97 troops. The C-97 was a game-changer in military aviation. It's easy to see why it was once a flying marvel. Your idea of Stone Age life might change after seeing this 2-kilometer structure. A group of students discovered it last year, submerged 21 meters underwater in the Baltic Sea off the coast of Germany. Its size and layout suggest it was built by hunter-gatherers as a barrier to protect against animals. A similar structure was found in Yonaguni, Japan at the same depth and with nearly identical dimensions. These discoveries may open the door to an entirely new chapter in human history. Who would have guessed that there was a MiG-21 fighter jet tucked away in the forests of Belgium? This aircraft was one of the most successful in military history and was exported to over 60 countries. Truly a rare and unexpected find. If you're as fascinated by ships with unusual histories as I am, this one is worth your attention. The Lilla Archison Wallace was the fifth and final floating hospital ship operating in New York City from the 1860s to the early 2000s. These ships provided free medical care, food, and clean water to children from low-income families, along with a river cruise many could only dream of. Today, the floating hospital continues its mission on land, but this vessel still holds the memory of those brighter days. Hidden for over a century, the USS F-1, a World War I-era submarine, was finally located off the coast of San Diego. After a fatal collision in 1917, it became one of the first American submarines to be lost at sea. In 2024, underwater drones captured striking images of the wreck, eerily frozen in time. Only a few climbers in Wyoming know about this cube-shaped rock. Well, now we do too. It stands about 23 meters tall, with two smooth faces and parallel cuts that closely resemble those found in both ancient and modern architecture. So is this really a natural formation as we're being told? I, for one, am not so sure. The World Discoverer was built to be narrow and spacious. The ship ended up striking a reef near Roderick Bay in the Solomon Islands. Passengers were safely evacuated, but the vessel remains lodged on the coast at a 46-degree angle. While exploring Google Earth, one man noticed an unusual pattern of geometric rock formations that turned out to be a massive labyrinth. The blocks appeared perfectly carved, as if arranged by a giant with an eye for symmetry. Strangest of all, the deeper you go, the more disorienting it becomes. The maze seems to pull you in, with no clear exit in sight. Similar geometric formations can be found at Mooley Point in Utah. There, though, the sharp, straight lines are simply the result of natural erosion in cracked soil. Nature, after all, has always been the best architect. The SS Coldbrook, a World War II cargo ship, still sits stranded on Middleton Island. In 1942, its captain ran it aground intentionally to save the crew from a Japanese naval pursuit. After an earthquake in 1964, the ship rose above the tide line and has remained there ever since. Its rustling hull is now home to seabirds and a magnet for curious explorers. Now we're off to New Jersey, where a mysterious abandoned ship is stuck in a muddy creek along the South River. All signs point to it being the Blue Jacket, a 110-foot steel yacht built in 1957 that once inspired legends. Sadly, not much is known about her history. What we do know is that this yacht was treasured. So, how did she end up stranded and forgotten on a silty shoreline? No one knows. Still, even in her current state, she is well worth looking at. Stepping into this nuclear weapons bunker feels like entering the world of the video game Stalker. Don't let its crumbling appearance fool you. This structure was built to withstand a direct nuclear blast, a true Cold War artifact. The icy waters of Tobermory, Canada, have their own tales to tell of nearly 24 shipwrecks. Among them is a steamship called City of Grand Rapids, which sank in 1979 after a massive fire. But the real crown jewel beneath the surface is the schooner known as Sweepstakes. Back in 1876, it was hauling a load of coal when a violent storm left it fatally damaged. What's truly astounding is the ship's condition. It looks as if it's been frozen mid-journey, sails across ready to unfurl for another grand voyage. At first glance, it's just an old Cadillac. But what if I told you it once belonged to a powerful businessman in the 1970s? After a failed deal, he had to flee the city, leaving his car behind at a Studebaker dealership. The bumper had been removed to hide compromising documents, but the leather interior survived in perfect condition. It's time to meet one of the three wonders of Japan, the megalith Ishi-no-Hoden. This 7-meter stone weighs over 500 tons and is believed to date back to 14,000 BC. Known as the floating stone from heaven, it appears to hover above the water. According to legend, a deity made a divine descent and arrived in Japan on this stone. This Chinese archaeologist may have confirmed the existence of sandbenders from Avatar. What else could explain a wooden ship buried in the middle of the desert? It's possible the region was once underwater and the ship sailed there centuries ago. If so, it could be over 300 years old. Everyone's heard of the Egyptian pyramids and Stonehenge, but Pumapunku in Bolivia is just as mysterious. The megaliths here are cut with such precision that the stones fit together without gaps. The edges are so exact, they can be swapped and still fit perfectly. The site predates the Inca, who believed the gods built and scattered these stones while creating the world. What started as a casual kayaking trip turned into something out of an adventure film. This man stumbled upon the Questor 1, a private submarine with a short and unfortunate history. It was built in Brooklyn from salvaged metal, but failed during its first launch attempt. Since then, it's been left to rust in the same spot. I think that Questor deserves a like at the very least. In the 6th century AD, in Afghanistan's Bamiyan Valley, craftsmen carried 2 Buddha statues into the cliffs, one 37 meters tall and the other 55 meters. They were decorated with gold and rare oil-based paints, highlighting the grandeur of their time. Despite being recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, both statues were destroyed by the Taliban in 2001 for being what they called un-Islamic. The loss still weighs heavily on the heart of world culture. For 50 years, Croatian authorities banned tourists from entering this island, and the reasons are striking. During the Cold War, Lastovo was turned into a strategic military base by the Yugoslav army. Even local residents needed special permission to move around, which isn't surprising. Artillery installations, bunkers covered the island, and the coastline was lined with German Flak 36 cannons capable of firing up to 20 rounds per minute. Only in 1992, after Yugoslavia's collapse, was Lastovo open to visitors. Some equipment was destroyed for safety, but what remains still points to the island's secret past. Until recently, I thought the strangest thing growing on trees was a durian, but this discovery topped even that. A man walking through the forest stumbled upon a training aircraft stuck in a tree. Its body wedged so tightly between the branches, it looked like the tree had grown around it. Judging by the model, it was one of the typical trainer planes. Hopefully, its pilot didn't get a license for that kind of parking, or at least got a second chance. Just because Switzerland stayed neutral doesn't mean its defenses were weak. These artillery fortresses are living proof. Located near the St. Gotthard Pass, a strategically important location for both the Germans and Italians, they were one of the key reasons the Nazis never dared to seize it. In Florida, your chances of stumbling across a space shuttle's external fuel tank are higher than you might think. This one was built in Alabama back in 1977 as a training model. Over the course of 3 decades, it changed the location several times until a mobile museum in Florida acquired it in 2011. That decision turned out to be disastrous because the museum went bankrupt. Since then, no one has volunteered to haul away this 61-meter giant. It's a mix of impracticality and improbability in a single tank. After watching this, you're definitely going to want to buy a metal detector. That's exactly how this man uncovered a Soviet GAZ-69 buried underground. In the 1970s, many people had their property confiscated for being unreliable, so it's likely that a man named Ivan buried his beloved car, hoping to retrieve it when things calmed down. Looks like it didn't go according to plan. Speaking of tombs, archaeologists have uncovered 59 wooden sarcophagi with mummies in the famous Saqqara necropolis. They have been underground for 2,600 years, but the paint, carvings, and fabric were so well preserved, they looked freshly made. Nearby, researchers have found 28 figurines of the ancient Egyptian god Seker, one of the main guardians of the afterlife. All signs point to these being the remains of elite figures and priests from Egypt's 26th dynasty. This might just be the beginning of what Saqqara still hides beneath its sands. In most European countries, you'll find a trash can every 10 meters, but in Albania, you'll find bunkers. No joke. Between the 1960s and 1980s, the country was filled with concrete shelters because dictator Enver Hoxha was paranoid that every NATO country was about to invade. it became a concrete nightmare. 170,000 bunkers for a population of 3 million, almost one per family. The failed project drained Albania's economy for decades. Let's be honest, a NASA rocket isn't something you find on the side of the road every day. The man in the video claims it's the real deal, but it's more likely a decommissioned training model. Still, I wouldn't mind stumbling upon a fake one like this, would you? Whether or not you believe in aliens, this discovery will leave you stunned. A few months ago, in Tula de Allende, Mexico, archaeologists uncovered a sarcophagus. What they found inside barely resembled a human: elongated arms and head, strange body proportions, and unknown hieroglyphics. Remind you of anything? Some researchers believe this creature lived on Earth long before any known civilization. To believe it or not, that's up to you. At the National Museum of Damascus in Syria, you'll find stunning marble sarcophagi from the Roman period. Each lid bears a portrait of the deceased with closed eyes, a reflection of the belief that this helped the soul pass peacefully into the afterlife. Notice that their heads are turned to the east. This follows Christian tradition, where the soul is believed to await resurrection from that direction. The threat of nuclear war during the Cold War led many people to build bunkers. This particular one was meant to stay hidden, as it was reserved for the top ranks of the German government. Most likely, this was the place where the elite planned to wait out a nuclear winter, then come out and rebuild the world. Thankfully, that plan was never needed. In 1954, at the base of the Great Pyramid, archaeologists discovered a mysterious structure made of cedar wood. After assembling all 1,224 pieces, they revealed a unique artifact, a 44-meter boat believed to have carried the resurrected pharaoh Khufu along the heavenly waters to the sun god Ra. The Khufu ship, or solar barge, is also considered the first ship in history to have defied time. Despite being 4,600 years old, it remains virtually unchanged. This place gives you chills and takes your breath away at the same time. At first glance, it looks like a gem-filled cave, but it's actually the heart of Belgium's oldest glass furnace, located at the abandoned AGC Glaverbel-Rue glass factory. The green stuff you see is a glossy mass of glass, likely formed during an emergency drain of molten material. Visiting this site feels like art therapy. A cooling tower isn't anything to write home about until you step outside. This one looks more like a secret alien base than an individual structure. So what really went on within these walls? Just water cooling? Or something else? Picture this. You're making your usual commute home when suddenly you come across a parking lot full of abandoned Mercedes. Just sitting there, collecting dust are an S-Class W140, an E-Class W124, and even a few rare SL models. Most have been parked since the early 1990s, yet surprisingly, many engines still start, and the interiors are in great shape beneath the grime. Some say this was a private collection left behind by a bankrupt dealer. Others think it's a forgotten stash of confiscated cars. Either way, we estimate the collection's value at around $2 to $3 million. Not too shabby for what looks like a junkyard. When sailing through the Pacific Ocean near New Georgia Island, you might stumble across some abandoned Japanese coastal guns from World War II. These massive 6-inch cannons are now covered in rust, silent witnesses to the hasty evacuation of Japanese troops in 1943. And they've been left to the whims of fate ever since. Lithuanian farmer Vidamantas Družas unearthed a 500-kilogram church bell that had been missing for 82 years. According to locals, it was buried in 1942 to prevent Soviet troops from melting it down for ammunition. If you ever get lost in the Holoskivsky forest in Ukraine, you might come across a place where paganism and Christianity intertwine. This unusual church was built by a hermit named Serhiy Borisov. He brought crosses and icons here and even dug several caves where he would spend the night. He has lived in the forest since 1999 and still occasionally sleeps in those caves. You never know what you'll find on the beach, a pretty shell or a boat full of Cuban refugees. The people aboard were trying to reach Mexico, but a strong current carried them to the shores of Louisiana, where they were rescued by a tanker on April 1st. The boat drifted for weeks before finally washing up on North Padre Island on April 26th. Inside, there were shoes, clothes, water, and food, all of which had spoiled by then. Even without knowing the full story, it's easy to tell this journey was brutal. Let's hope these people's lives truly changed for the better. On April 27, 2016, 2 empty excavators fell into Norway's Lake Gransvindvatnet during repair work. The damage exceeded $300,000, prompting the company to organize a recovery operation. The search lasted 6 months and only succeeded thanks to magnetometric equipment. The machines were eventually pulled out and never worked again. In the garage of an unknown 19th century aristocrat's estate, a young woman discovered a full collection of antique carriages. 100 years ago, they rolled proudly through city streets, symbols of wealth and status, but time is no respecter of persons. Maybe this woman will give them a second life. Declassified KGB footage from 1969 allegedly shows Soviet soldiers recovering a crashed flying saucer with alien bodies at the site, 'cause skeptics call it an elaborate hoax. Divers exploring off Florida's coast discovered what looks like ruins of an ancient underwater city, complete with massive columns, lying sculptures, and mysterious plaques that shouldn't exist on the ocean floor. This surreal 6.5-hectare site isn't Atlantis, but something even more extraordinary. The world's largest underwater cemetery, where cremated human remains are mixed with special cement to create living reef structures. Since 2007, this unique underwater city has provided both an alternative to traditional burial and a thriving marine habitat where tropical fish now swim peacefully among the memorial markers of over 1,500 people. In the Red Sea's crystal-clear waters lies one of the world's most incredible underwater museums, a British cargo ship frozen in time since 1941. The 126-meter SS Thistlegorm, sunk by German bombers during World War II, still contains its original cargo, including BSA motorcycles, Bedford trucks, ammunition, and even locomotives meant for Egyptian railways. Divers exploring this underwater time capsule at 30 meters depth can see vehicles with intact tires and windows, creating a terrifying picture of wartime logistics. Salvage teams made a controversial discovery when they raised a massive bronze eagle from Uruguay's River Plate. This 2-meter-tall, 400-kilogram sculpture bearing symbols once adorned the stern of the German battleship Admiral Grafspee, which was scuttled in 1939 after the Battle of the River Plate. The eagle's recovery in 2006 sparked international debate about displaying artifacts, with plans to melt it down ultimately abandoned in favor of historical preservation. Missouri's Bon Terre Mine had transformed from one of the world's largest lead producers into an extraordinary underwater labyrinth. This flooded mine complex, abandoned in 1962, contains 27 kilometers of underwater passages at depths up to 30 meters, where divers can explore perfectly preserved mining equipment, including ore carts, tools, and even scaffolding. Moreover, the crystal-clear water, filtered through limestone for decades, offers visibility up to 30 meters, revealing an industrial ghost town frozen in time. This ancient Roman fortress lay hidden for nearly 2,000 years until Spain's devastating 2022 drought dropped reservoir levels to just 49% capacity, revealing history beneath the waves. This first-century fortress, built to house 600 soldiers of the Legio VII Gemina, was submerged for 73 years after the Limia River was dammed in 1949. Their remarkably preserved ruins include barracks, the remains of thermal baths, defensive walls, and streets, offering a unique glimpse into Roman military life along the Via Nova trade route. Beneath China's Xiangdao Lake was found a perfectly preserved ancient city that's been hidden underwater for over 60 years. The Lion City, founded over 1,300 years ago during the Eastern Han Dynasty, was deliberately flooded in 1959 to create an artificial lake for a hydroelectric power station. Today, divers can explore this underwater time capsule at depths of 26 to 40 meters, where intricate stone carvings, ancient inscriptions, and complete architectural structures remain mysteriously intact despite decades underwater. In the waters off Italy's Ligurian coast rests one of the Mediterranean's most spectacular dive sites, the massive wreck of the supertanker Haven. This 334-meter giant, which sank in April 1991 while transferring oil, now lies at depths between 33 to 83 meters, creating the largest shipwreck in the Mediterranean Sea. Despite its tragic history, the Haven has transformed into an incredible artificial reef where divers can explore its cathedral-like interior spaces and encounter abundant marine life. And Poland's flooded Jaworzno Quarry, massive mining excavators stand like industrial ghosts beneath the water. When groundwater flooded this limestone quarry, it trapped two enormous excavators, a transformer station, and hundreds of meters of thick cables that once powered this industrial site. Today, scuba divers can explore these mechanical giants at depths of 30 meters, swimming through cabins and around massive bucket wheels that once carved through solid rock. German kids hit the jackpot when thousands of Kinder eggs washed ashore after a 2017 cargo ship accident. And they got to keep the toys. While children celebrated their unexpected treasure hunt, adults spent days cleaning up this plastic yellow invasion from the North Sea. Just when you thought Kinder eggs were strange, British beaches got covered with millions of Marlboro packs after a container ship lost 520 containers in 2014. Thank goodness the waterlogged packs were completely ruined, but cleanup crews spent weeks removing this bizarre cargo. Beneath the Bay of Naples lies the submerged resort town of Baia, once the Las Vegas of the Roman Empire. This ancient entertainment city, where emperors like Nero and Caesar built luxury villas, gradually sank due to volcanic activities starting in the 8th century, preserving stunning mosaics, statues, and thermal baths underwater. Today's divers can explore this 2,000-year-old underwater archaeological park at just 5 to 15 meters, swimming through ancient streets where Rome's elite once partied. For more discoveries like this, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos. Right off Greece's Alonissos Island was found an underwater mountain of over 4,000 ancient wine amphoras from a 5th century BC shipwreck. This Athenian merchant vessel, which sank around 425 BC, created such a massive pile of ceramic jars that they've preserved the ship's wooden hull shape even after the timber rotted away. Imagine discovering the first shot fired by America in World War II lying 400 meters beneath the Pacific Ocean. This Japanese midget submarine, sunk by the USS Ward at 6:45 a.m. on December 7, 1941, over an hour before the Pearl Harbor incident began, was finally located in 2002. The perfectly preserved vessel, found by the Hawaii Undersea Research Laboratory, bears the scars of the 4-inch shell that penetrated its conning tower, marking America's entry into the Pacific War. Europe's 2022 drought revealed a 5,000-year-old stone circle that had been submerged for nearly 60 years. The dolmen of Guadaparal, featuring 150 granite standing stones up to 2 meters tall, arranged in a circular pattern, was flooded in 1963 during reservoir construction. Archaeological evidence suggests this Neolithic monument served as both a tomb and solar calendar, with human remains found nearby supporting theories about ancient burial rituals. Moving to the Bahamas, where the crystal caves contain underwater formations so spectacular that explorers describe them as entering another planet. These flooded caverns feature crystal formations up to 9 meters long, formed over millions of years when the caves were dry during ice ages. Divers navigating these underground labyrinths at depths of 15 to 30 meters must squeeze through narrow passages to reach cathedral-sized chambers filled with pristine stalactites and stalagmites. But the view is truly worth it. Off Crimea's coast, we can witness the world's strangest underwater museum, where Soviet leaders' statues were deliberately sunk to create Alley of Leaders. Starting in 1992, divers began placing busts of Lenin, Stalin, and other communist figures at 12 to 15 meters depth, eventually adding replicas of the Eiffel Tower, London Bridge, and even a telephone booth and motorcycle. This surreal underwater gallery now features over 50 sculptures slowly being colonized by marine life, creating an eerie political graveyard where ideology meets ecology. Mysterious 2.4-meter tall Lego figures have been washing up on beaches worldwide since 2007, baffling authorities and delighting crowds. These fiberglass sculptures, bearing the cryptic message, "No real than you are," and signed Ego Leonard, have appeared in the Netherlands, UK, USA, and Japan. Dutch artist Ego Leonard claims responsibility for this global art project, though how these 45-kilogram figures travel across oceans remain part of the mystery. And if you have a theory about how they moved so accurately, tell us in the comments. Off Turkey's Mediterranean coast was discovered a perfectly preserved C-47 Dakota transport plane that served in World War II before meeting its watery fate. This military aircraft, deliberately sunk in 2007 to create an artificial reef, now rests at 32 meters depth with its cockpit, cargo hold, and twin engines still intact. Today, divers can swim through the fuselage where military supplies were once stored, while schools of fish have turned this warbird into their permanent home. After multiple findings on this watery place, Jordan has created the world's first underwater military museum in the Red Sea, featuring real tanks, helicopters, and armored vehicles. This unique dive site near Aqaba includes a Challenger tank, Cobra helicopter, and various military vehicles deliberately sunk at 15 to 28 meters to create artificial reefs. Military enthusiasts and divers can explore this surreal battlefield where coastal coral and tropical fish have transformed weapons of war into peaceful marine habitats. Deep-sea divers made history when they discovered U-869, solving one of World War II's greatest maritime mysteries. This German submarine, which disappeared in 1945 with 56 crew members aboard, was found 37 meters deep off New Jersey's coast, far from where historians believed it had sunk. The discovery revealed evidence of a massive hole in the torpedo room, likely from one of their own malfunctioning torpedoes, finally explaining the submarine's mysterious fate. A 9-meter creature with massive teeth washed up in New Zealand, sparking sea monster theories worldwide. Marine biologists eventually identified it as a decomposed orca, though its bizarre appearance reignited ancient legends about ocean monsters. Divers exploring a flooded Caribbean cave discovered perfectly preserved Ice Age skeletons, giant ground sloths, ancient crocodiles, and extinct creatures that fell in before the cave flooded thousands of years ago. After 1,200 years beneath the Mediterranean, the legendary Egyptian city of Thonis Heracleion had finally revealed its treasures. This major trading port, which sank in the 8th century AD due to earthquakes and flooding, has yielded colossal statues up to 5 meters tall, temple ruins, and over 700 ancient anchors. French archaeologist Franck Godio's team had recovered gold coins, bronze vessels, and the largest stone inscription ever found in Egypt, proving this wasn't just a myth, but Egypt's most important port city. This find in the Bahamas is called Dean's Blue Hole, a perfectly circular sinkhole plunging 202 meters into the earth. Free divers attempt world records in its crystal clear waters, exploring underwater caves with stalactites that prove this was once dry land before sea levels rose thousands of years ago. A perfectly spherical metal object on Hamamatsu Beach had Japanese authorities so concerned they deployed sapper units and X-ray equipment. This 1.5-meter iron ball with handles sparked wild theories from spy devices to UFOs, before experts concluded it was probably just a buoy, though its origin remains unknown. In Micronesia's Chuuk Lagoon lies the world's largest graveyard of World War II military equipment, Japan's Ghost Fleet. Operation Hailstone in 1944 sent over 40 ships and 250 aircraft to the bottom, creating an underwater museum where tanks, trucks, fighter planes, and personal belongings remain frozen in time. The world's deepest shipwreck discovery was made when explorers found USS Samuel B. Roberts at an incredible 6,895 meters depth. This destroyer escort was sunk during the 1944 Battle of Samar. The discovery by Victor Vescovo's team using advanced submersibles found the ship remarkably intact, with gun mounts and the hull structure still recognizable despite resting deeper than Mount Kilimanjaro is tall. For 74 years, locals thought a piece of metal sticking from a Russian river was just an old log, until someone tried to remove it. The log turned out to be the part of a perfectly preserved T-34-76 tank, one of the last of its model ever produced, which had crashed through ice during a 1942 battle. When finally extracted, the tank still contained ammunition, personal belongings, and provided historians with invaluable insights into a forgotten World War II battle. Now witness the next finding, the Golden Ray cargo ship that created an environmental disaster when it capsized off Georgia's coast with 4,200 vehicles still aboard. This 200-meter vessel overturned in September 2019 due to incorrect ballast calculations, trapping thousands of cars including luxury vehicles and creating a massive oil spill risk. Salvage operations took nearly 2 years, cutting the ship into 8 giant sections while preventing about 1.21 million liters of fuel and thousands of cars from polluting the sensitive coastal ecosystem. Scientists discovered a forest of the weird on a Pacific seamount. Glass sponges shaped like E.T. the Alien at 2,100 meters depth. These meter-tall creatures, officially nicknamed alien sponges, revealed an entire bizarre ecosystem thriving in complete darkness. A Harley-Davidson motorcycle that crossed the entire Pacific Ocean inside a shipping container became one of the most remarkable tsunami artifacts ever found. This bike, swept away from Miyagi Prefecture during Japan's 2011 tsunami, washed up on Canada's Graham Island after drifting 6,400 kilometers over 13 months. At the bottom of Germany's Kredes Lake, divers revealed an abandoned Mercedes truck sitting on a mysterious metal platform 35 meters underwater. This quarry-turned-dive site also contains a Cessna aircraft, various cars, and tunnel systems deliberately placed to create an underwater adventure park. Beachgoers in Florida got the shock of their lives when they discovered what appeared to be a military aircraft washed up on the sand. This BQM-167A Air Force target drone, used for combat training exercises, somehow ended up on the beach after target practice over the Gulf of Mexico. The 6-meter unmanned aircraft, worth approximately $800,000, had to be carefully removed by authorities while curious tourists gathered to photograph this rare military hardware. Estonia's partially flooded Rumu prison creates a haunting scene where Soviet-era buildings emerge from crystal-clear quarry waters. This limestone quarry prison, abandoned in 1991 when Estonia gained independence, flooded when pumps stopped working, submerging workshops, cells, and barbed wire fences. Today, the structure is safe and divers can explore flooded buildings at depths up to 10 meters, swimming through barred windows and prison corridors where inmates once lived, creating one of the world's most disturbing dive sites. Beachgoers in Fort Lauderdale discovered a massive 6-meter wooden cross covered in barnacles that had mysteriously washed ashore. This enormous cross, weighing several hundred kilograms, is believed to have drifted from a memorial site destroyed by Hurricane Michael. The mysterious origin and perfect timing of its arrival sparked theories ranging from shipwrecks to divine intervention. Right in Britain's Poem Hill Quarry, an underwater graveyard was found containing hundreds of classic cars from the 1950s and 60s. This 20-meter deep flooded quarry contains everything from vintage Mercedes and Jaguars to rare classics and even Japanese motorcycles, many believed to be insurance write-offs or stolen vehicles dumped decades ago. Here is the world's only surviving Hinkel HE-115 seaplane that was recovered from a Norwegian fjord after 70 years underwater. This German World War II aircraft, which crashed in 1942, was preserved by cold seawater at 60 meters depth, maintaining incredible detail, including intact instruments and manufacturer plates. After careful restoration, this unique aircraft now displays at Norway's Aviation Museum, representing the only example of this model in existence worldwide. Spain's severe drought in 2022 revealed the whole ghost village of Acaredo, abandoned underwater for 30 years. This Galician village, flooded in 1992 to create the Lindoso Reservoir, emerged with houses, cars, and even bottles still on bar tables, perfectly preserved. Now visitors could walk through streets, enter homes with furniture still in place, and see a rusted car on the main road, creating a real-life Atlantis that attracted thousands before disappearing again beneath rising waters. How about a mysterious 635-kilogram iron cube resembling a giant die that washed up on Idaho Lake's Coeur d'Alene, baffling authorities? This 6-foot, 1.8-meter metal cube had previously appeared years earlier when someone painted spots on it to look like a die. Then it disappeared, only to resurface elsewhere. The origin of the cube puzzled everyone, but it turned out to be a rusty tank that a local man had turned into Dice Beach, from which it drifted away. England's Norfolk Beach became an industrial art installation when massive 2.4-meter diameter pipes, some 480 meters long, washed ashore. These Norwegian manufactured pipes, destined for an Algerian water project, broke free from their tow during a storm, creating surreal scenes of beachgoers dwarfed by industrial infrastructure. The pipes, each weighing several tons, required specialized equipment to remove, temporarily transforming the pristine coastline into an apocalyptic landscape. Giant navigation buoys regularly break free and wash up on beaches worldwide, creating mysterious discoveries for unsuspecting beach enthusiasts. Like these massive markers, some weighing over 2 tons and standing 4 meters tall, can drift thousands of kilometers after breaking moorings during storms. Just like in 2019, a Coast Guard buoy that drifted for 2 years from South Carolina to Florida became a tourist attraction, with its barnacle-covered surface and mysterious journey captivating crowds. Texas's record drought exposed dinosaur tracks hidden underwater for decades in the Paluxy River. These 113-million-year-old footprints from Acrocanthosaurus and Sauroposeidon dinosaurs, normally submerged in Dinosaur Valley State Park, revealed such perfect detail that individual toe impressions were visible. The tracks, some measuring over 1 meter long, provided paleontologists with rare insights into 7-ton dinosaur behavior and movement patterns during the Cretaceous period. But did you know about a 20-meter-long concrete dock from Japan that traveled more than 7,000 kilometers across the Pacific before beaching in Oregon? This 165-ton structure, torn from Misawa Port during the 2011 tsunami, carried over 90 species of Japanese marine life, even raising concerns about invasive species. The dock's 15-month trans-Pacific journey demonstrated the lasting impact of the tsunami caused by the magnitude 9.0 earthquake, with debris continuing to wash up on North American shores years after the disaster. China's Poyang Lake drought revealed a perfectly preserved 400-year-old granite bridge stretching nearly 300 kilometers. This Ming Dynasty structure, built with precisely cut granite blocks weighing several tons each, was submerged in the 1970s during reservoir construction. When water levels dropped to historic lows on the lake, twice the size of London, thousands visited this architectural marvel featuring 11 arches and ancient inscriptions, offering a tour into China's engineering prowess centuries ago. These marine archaeologists recovered massive cannons from Blackbeard's flagship Queen Anne's Revenge off North Carolina's coast. These weapons, some weighing over 1 ton and capable of firing 2.7 kilograms cannonballs, were aboard when the notorious pirate ship ran aground in 1718. Along with 31 cannons, divers have recovered over 250,000 artifacts, including medical supplies, navigational instruments, and personal items, creating the most complete picture of Golden Age piracy ever discovered. Thailand's worst drought in a decade brought not only devastation but something good, like the submerged Wat Nong WWII temple, hidden underwater for 20 years. This Buddhist temple, flooded during dam construction to create irrigation reservoirs, emerged with its headless Buddha statue still standing among ruins. Local villagers, who remembered worshipping there as children, returned to pray and place garlands on the ancient statue, creating really emotional scenes of reconnection with their submerged heritage. And this is not the only such discovery, as dropping water levels in China's Hongyang Reservoir exposed remarkable 600-year-old Buddhist sculptures carved directly into cliff faces. These Ming Dynasty statues, including a magnificent reclining Buddha, were submerged during the Cultural Revolution when authorities flooded religious sites. The perfectly preserved sculptures, protected underwater for decades, showcase intricate details and artistic mastery that survived persecution and years of submersion. Well, that was our last find for the day. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and write a comment if any part of this episode surprised you. Until next time.